Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar. My name is Rakel Rúnarsdóttir and I'm a merchandising consultant at AGR Dynamics. Today's webinar is about how your company can drive customer satisfaction by optimizing their inventory by using two of AGR's standalone modules, location clustering and store assortment. Few practical things before we start. You should see a Q&A bar on the right-hand side of the screen. So if you have any questions while we go, please write them there and my colleagues that are with me on the line will answer them. So let's start by looking at a few slides covering our product offering and the basics of the location clustering and store assortment modules before I will show you the solution. So we will be covering these two modules in the yellow boxes, location clustering and store assortment. As many of you may know, we usually divide the AGR system into three main suites: planning, assortment, and inventory. Keep in mind though that this is all just the one and the same system, where inputs and outputs can be used between suites and modules. Location clustering and store assortment are standalone modules. And by that we mean that they are independent of other functionality within AGR and have their own inputs and outputs. They can therefore be implemented on their own. These two standalone modules work well together, and the output from the location clustering module can be used as an input into store assortment, which is the main reason why we have combined them into one webinar. We have already had webinars covering the merchandise financial planning, the location financial planning, and the allocation module. So if you're interested in any of them, please go to our website where you can find the links to them. Today's customers have distinct preferences on how they shop, where they shop, and when they shop. AGR's location clustering and store assortment modules ensure that you can place your products where your customers are likely to buy them. The starting point of any good assortment plan is knowing the difference between your stores and using that difference effectively when planning. By that, your company gets an improved ability to provide a localized, customer-centric assortment, meaning sending the right products to the right locations. Therefore, ensuring that your products are where your customers want them and when they want them. This will result in increased service levels and revenue. Our clustering engine groups stores with similar characteristics using various criteria in order to make range and distribution planning easier in companies with a large number of locations. There are endless possibilities on how companies might want to group their stores together, and these can be both performance and non-performance based. For example, a performance-based cluster are stores with similar sales performance. Non-performance-based clusters could consider store space or store type, or any store characteristics. A non-performance-based cluster could also consider customer demographics, such as ethnicity, income level, age group, or other characteristics. So as you see, there are endless possibilities on how stores can be grouped together. Let's now go into the system and have a look at the solution. So I will do a quick run through on how the system works, as some of you might not have used AGR before. So we are now in the location clustering module. And up here we can see the three suites within AGR, as we saw earlier in the presentation, the three hexagons: planning, assortment, and inventory. What we see here on the screen is what we call a view. And in the list here, we can see all the views that belong to this module. in the view settings, we can control what data is presented in the view and how we choose to present it. So this is a view that we call offer matrix. The offer matrix is where the offer size required for each assortment grade for a product group is defined. An offer size is the number of unique products on sale in a location at any time. In the offer matrix, the space required to display the offer is also calculated. The assortment grade, the first column that we see here, is set for the location, either as part of the location financial planning or in the ERP system, and it defines the size of the offer for that product group in that location. In this case, the top grade, grade A, represents the maximum offer that will be available in any A grade location. The number of assortment grades is determined for the business and represents the number of different sizes of offer that they want to be able to provide. The space required, the last column, shows the number of square meters, linear meters, or whatever form of measurement used by the company that are required to display the offer. The assortment grades for each product group for location will be dependent on the total space available in that location and on its overall sales potential. In this example, we have decided that all A-grade stores should receive 24 different options in this product group. 4 options will be placed on each shelf, for example. So the system calculates that 6 shelves are required to display the 24 options. Now, as I said, the unit of space can be square meters, shelves, cubic meters, or whatever form of measurements you would like to use. This is an option within HGR to use the offer matrix to define the assortment grades. If you have this information stored elsewhere, we can read them over, or if you prefer not to work with assortment grades, that is also an option. The information determined in the offer matrix can then be an input into the next workspace called location grading. This is the workspace where we define criteria for our stores and group them together in clusters with similar characteristics. I will be working on product group level 2, which you can see here at the top. Not all product groups within the same location have the same size of space and same sales performance, which is why locations are typically graded on this product. Location clustering has the ability to group stores together based on various criteria. The criteria we have as a standard in HGR are 3, the green columns: location type, assortment grade, and replenishment grade. Location type can be used for store characteristics or geographical region, like here. Here we have split our stores into city center and countryside stores. The reason why that criteria might be beneficial to a company is because a city center store might need slightly different products than a countryside store. The second criteria is assortment grade, which we have already defined in the offer matrix view. It is the size of the space allocated to each product group in each store. And the third is replenishment grade, which is defined by the location's planned turnover. Here, the replenishment grade is calculated based on the planned sales value that we see here. And locations are then grouped together into bands of similar turnover. Now, the sales value forecast can be a rolling forecast, or this could be linked to the location financial planning module if that one is being used. All of these criteria can either be done in HGR, or we can read them over if the information is available elsewhere. And these criteria are just examples of different ways to group stores together. So after we have defined all criteria for a store, the system combines them and creates a cluster name. So you can see here in the first column the cluster name. CC stands for City Center, A is the A in assortment grade, and 01 is the replenishment rate. You can see here that the top 3 stores go into the same cluster, and that is because they all have the same criteria, so they are then grouped together. The location grading can also be to predefined time periods. Now the information we see here can also be viewed down to each location. Here we have our locations in the dropdown. So we are focusing on one store now, and the list of our product groups here. So here we can see how the same store can have different clusters down to product groups. And as I said earlier, that is because not all product groups within the same location have the same size of space and same sales performance. And there are many other factors that could be different between product groups within the same location. The outputs from the location clustering module are the location clusters, sales mix, and number of options by store. The location clusters can then be taken forward to the store assortment module for product ranging, that is, to decide which product should go to which stores. So if we go into the store assortment module now, the purpose with the store assortment module is to decide which products should go to which stores. And we use this view, the range grid. We can now see here at the top the clusters from the location clustering module. CS stands for countryside and CC for city center, which was the location type in the location clustering module. And A, B, and E are the assortment grades, which we also defined in the location clustering module, which is the size of the offer for that product group in that location. So behind every cluster are many stores that all share the same criteria. At this stage, we are working on item level. We have our items here and the list, and we can select which product should go where by assigning them to store clusters. If we have a look at the top product, we have ranged this product to all 7 clusters. Underneath each cluster is a number of stores that all have the same criteria. In total, 40 stores. If a checkbox has a minus symbol like this one here, that means that this product is partially ranged to this cluster, meaning that exemptions can be made for stores under each cluster. You might have a cluster with 10 stores, but one of the stores you want to treat a bit differently for certain products, and that is done here. Here we have stores in the dropdown, and all of our items here, and here we can do exemptions down to store for each product. Keep in mind that this module doesn't require the location clustering module. We could read these clusters over from an ERP or other system. And this can also be done on store level. If you don't want or don't need clusters, you can have your stores listed here instead of the clusters. I have now covered the basics of the AGR location clustering and store assortment modules. Keep in mind that as with other functionality within AGR, these modules can be tailored to meet specific needs. For further information, questions, or to book a demo to go into more detail on the functionality we've seen today, please contact your consultant or email us at sales@agrdynamics.com. We will keep the webinar live for a few more minutes, so if you have any questions, please ask. Thank you all for attending, and please keep an eye out for upcoming webinars. Have a good day and take care.